Federal or the government said I had to wear my mask, so I'm on. Don't say anything off color or, hey guys, we have any people that are on? Are we just recording?
You guys keep on.
Oh, good, good.
Change the mask mandate now?
Yeah, so the new mask mandate came out, started at midnight last night,
Oh, really?
and it is that any employee of a company, while inside the workplace, has to wear a mask.
Does that mean us?
Nope, because you're a 1099 employee, so you don't fall under that.
So you enter at your own risk?
There you go. And you're welcome to wear a mask if you would like to. I'm just going to say that on this stage where I'm standing, this is my space, and while I'm here, I'm not wearing a mask. Is that fair? Is that all right? All right. This is my cubicle. Well, the rule also says if you're at your desk or in your cubicle, you're not required to wear. So this is currently my cubicle, just so everybody knows. All right, so let's talk about lead follow-up. Let me ask you a question, so I know kind of what we need to be talking about today. What kind of leads are you getting primarily? Like, what kind of leads are you trying to follow up on? What are you hoping to learn about how to follow up? Go ahead, throw it out there. I'll quit talking till you talk.
So like I was at the academy, I did some phone calls. And
Okay.
I did door knocking
So cold calling,
and door knocking.
door knocking, okay?
I mean, I feel like lead follow-up is complicated because everybody's in like a different kind of situation. So
Okay.
if I try to go into your CRM and do one of these automatic driftings, like some of the information applies, some of it doesn't, is it better to just put something going consistently as opposed to something customized for that client?
Okay, so for those that are online, the comment was that lead follow-up is complicated because there's lots of different things you could do. And then how do you decide what to do, what not to do, what's better, what's not better, all of that. Is that about, okay, good. So it's exactly why we're holding this class, because you're not wrong. You're not right, but you're not wrong. So let's figure that out. All right, so what other kind of leads are we trying to follow up on?
Open house leads.
Open house, okay. Keep going, I can write fast.
Your sphere of influence.
So your sphere of influence, okay. What else?
Circle prospect.
All right, so we can put that under cold calling because we're calling people. Circle prospecting is just calling around a point on a map, right? And I'm going to call the 100 people that are closest to that address to see if they want to come to my open house or that. Okay, farming, let's put farming up there. FSBOs are also going to probably come under cold calling. Actually, I am going to put FSBOs up here. Expireds. Okay,
Would you consider like your own neighborhood under farming?
yes.
Okay.
Geographical farm, so yeah, farming. Is there anybody getting any other kind of lead that you could think of?
Like internet leads.
Internet, okay. All right, if there's anything misspelled, for those of you that police that, I'm sorry, I don't care about spelling. What else? Is there any other kind of lead that we would, as a real estate agent, need to follow up on? Want to follow
Like
up
a
on?
friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend, so a referral?
Better word for it.
Okay, I think I even got that right. 1F, 2 Rs.
Doing like business networking, is that like a sphere?
Business networking is going to be farming. That's more of a, not a geographical, but a demographical farming. Yeah, what else? Any other kind of lead that we're going to follow up on? I think that's about it. I mean, that pretty much covers most.
Advertising, like from any ads you put out, marketing. I don't know if that's.
I guess it would depend on where you're, I mean, that would be an internet lead, that would be a
Magazine.
social media lead. Yeah, we'll put social media up there. Okay, anything else? Types of leads. No, I don't think there is. I mean, that's going to pretty much cover it. All right, so here becomes the dilemma. How, why, what, when, where, how often, why not, what to do, what not to do, when to do it, how to do it. Is it a call? Is it a text? Is it an email? Is it a social media post? Is it a knock on the door? Is it a what is it, right? Like, how do we do it? So here are the three things I want you to understand about follow-up. There's really three basic principles. Number one is, maybe one of the most difficult, is that you have to do it. Period. End of conversation. Does anybody spend money for lead generation? Like, do you write a check to somebody that generates leads for you?
I did once.
Okay, she did once. Okay,
Not yet.
not yet. Okay, so you plan to maybe someday. You guys are just doing anything that's free, which, let me just be really clear, that's my preference. Anything that's free is, I think, what you should be doing. There's only certain circumstances I think that you should be paying for leads. And it's my personal opinion. There's nobody really smart out there in the world has actually said that. That's just my opinion, okay? All right, so number two is, you have to do it. Right? But number two is you have to do it consistently. Consistently. Oh, I spelt that wrong. Sorry for all of you out there that can't stand to see that. Apologize. All right, so do it. Number one, got to do it, right? Like, if you're lead generating, if you're doing lead generation, if you're spending time every day to try to get a hold of someone that wants to buy or sell, and then you're not following up, you've just wasted that time. Does that make sense? Right, so then once we start figuring out how to do it and that we're committed to doing it, we have to do it consistently. That's horribly spelled wrong. Does anybody know what I did wrong? Everything. Okay, good. It says consistently. Even you guys should be able to tell that it says consistent.
You forgot an S.
An S. All right. I forgot an S. Cool.
And the A's and E.
And an A and an E. All right.
A
Good.
and E.
All right. So this is that thing where you have to unscramble the word. All right. Good. All right. What's number three?
Do it.
Nope. Unfortunately, it's not. It might even be opposite of do it.
Start from the
Do
beginning.
it, do it consistently, do it well.
You don't even, no, you absolutely don't have to do it well. You can be successful and be really bad at it, to be totally honest. So no, you don't have to do it well. But what do you have to know what to do?
Does it depend on that client, that person, how often?
No.
Okay.
So number three is you have to know when to stop. This right here, number three, is what causes people to stop doing number one and number two. Because they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. I'm committed to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. And they never get any results from it. So you have to know when to stop. This is as crucial as number one, honestly. I'll share a quick story. I had an agent on my team one time. He came to me and he says, I'm super frustrated. We get these internet leads. They come in. I get a text on my phone the minute that they register, and I hit their phone number and I call them, and they don't answer. He says, it's frustrating for me. Like, if they register on our site, they should answer my phone call. They should answer my text. They should answer my emails. And I said, I hear you. I hear you. Understand that internet lead conversion ratios are very low. It's a numbers game. You've got to get 100 of them to get someone to talk to you. It's okay. That's just how it goes. No, that's not good enough for me, he says. He says, I'm committing to you today that I'm going to follow up with all of these people who have been signing up on our site. We're just his leads, different than anybody else's on the team, until I get a hold of them. And I said, I'd caution you against that. I don't want you to do that. Because what happens over time is you stop doing it because you didn't know when to stop doing it, and now you're over it. Done. Well, here's what do you think happened to him? He did it. He wouldn't listen to me. He absolutely did it. He spent 8 hours every single day calling, texting, and emailing these people. What do you think happened?
He got burned out and frustrated.
And And
He never got any.
he got to go find a new job. He never got a client from it. Why?
Because he didn't know when to stop.
Well, he knows about why do you need to know when to stop though? How many people in here get a phone call from the extended warranty company?
Every day.
Every day? How many of you have called them back?
Never.
If you have 100 people that you're trying to get a hold of that have that mentality about real estate, how many of them are going to call you back? So what's going to happen? You're going to be out of business, right? So I think that this is as crucial, and I learned it the hard way because I watched a guy have to leave the business because he had to provide for his wife and his kid to go find a job that, a job outside of this business. So you have to know when to stop. So the system that you create to follow up with every one of these types of leads has to have a stopping point. Does that make sense? I know that sounds really weird, like, no, we need to hardcore no, yeah, you're right, we need to, but there needs to be a stopping point. So I'll share with you today what our stopping point is, like when we know when it's time to stop, okay? All right, questions so far? Anything online? All right, yes,
I've heard some people say you prospect until they die.
okay. So yeah.
They say stop or they die.
And then you still probably don't even stop, right? Because quite honestly, if somebody passes and they own a home, what do you need? What do you need to do? They need to sell that house. So I keep prospecting to that same person in the same way that I have been, hoping one of his kids picks it up. I've done a ton of probate from that scenario where I didn't know they passed, and so I just was still doing my thing, and I would get a call from the attorney or from the family member that said, hey, you've been talking to my father, my mother, they've passed, we need to get this house sold. Okay, so yeah, that's true, and I'll share with you more about that, because the bottom line is I'm not physically calling those people every single day. That doesn't make sense, right? I mean, if I'm calling all the home warranty people every single day, guys, that doesn't make sense. What you need to understand is when you get that call, it's not somebody on the other end of the line calling you. It's a recorded system that's automatically dialing 1,000 phone numbers an hour, leaving that, it's called a voice drop. It just drops into your voicemail and then you get to listen to it. They're just waiting for one or two or a percentage of people to call the number back so they can sell a home warranty. Because if you call back, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a home warranty.
Right.
Or a car warranty, right? You're going to buy that. So they know the people that call back are a much higher conversion ratio. All right, so do it consistently. End of conversation. It has to be consistent, and you got to know when to stop doing it. All right, so let's talk about cold calls. Why would we ever follow up with a cold call?
They showed an interest, or we found out that they're planning to sell.
Okay.
Or just that they talk to you.
Oh, they may have picked up their phone and had a conversation, and in that conversation, they indicated that they might be interested in buying or selling a property in a period of time. 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 30 days, 30 weeks. We don't know what the time frame is, right? But they've indicated, yeah, maybe they want to do something. Okay, why would we ever follow up on a door knocking? We knocked on the door, they had a conversation with us, right? We know kind of what their real estate goals might be. Probably not to the extent we need to know, but we know a little bit about what their plans are. Why would we follow up on anybody who comes to an open house? We had a conversation with them.
They're at the open house, which means something's on their mind.
Okay, so they have indicated somehow through conversation or a note on the little piece of paper you had their sign in on that they might be interested in buying or selling. Does it change as I can keep going, but right, we follow up with people because they give us an indication that they might be interested. Everyone always stops me here and goes, well, there's one on here that, no, they didn't give me any indication. I just follow up with them. Which one is it? Internet leads. No, they gave you an indication. They signed up on your website, right? They were on your website looking at houses. Now, it may have been 2 o'clock in the morning and QVC wasn't entertaining enough, and so they jumped on. I don't know, but they did give some indication, right? Okay, so lead follow-up comes from some type of lead generation activity, We got to do it. We got to do it consistently, and we got to know when to stop. Okay? All right. When I get a new lead, what do I do with it? You can pick any lead you want. Tell me what lead you got. Tell me what you do with it.
I put it in my CRM.
What kind of lead?
What kind of lead?
Yeah, like pick one. I said you had to pick one of these.
Oh, well, I have a door knocking lead.
Okay, door knocking lead. You put it into your CRM.
Put it in the
Do you care? Will you share what your CRM you're using?
Lions Desk.
Lions Desk. Okay, it's a good one. A lot of people use Lions Desk. Okay. Why do you put it in there?
Well,
To make you feel good that you put it somewhere?
no,
Is it like putting the dish away in the sink in the cupboard? All right, it's put away. Whew. All right, I'm never going to look at that dish again until I need to eat.
yeah.
Is that what it's about?
Like trying to decide which CRM to use is like huge, but I chose LionDesk because I can see things easily.
Okay.
And I like how they have this one tag where you can determine how hot the client is. how
Okay.
hot, cold.
Good. Hot, warm, cold. Let's talk about that. Hot, warm, cold. All right, I'm going to run out of room. I only got one more space, and then we have to close the class out. All right, hot, warm, cold. Does that say wold or cold? Let's fix that. Cold. All right. What does that mean? Hot, warm, cold. Why does that matter? Why do we need to know that?
To know how often to get back to that person and follow up with them.
Okay, so knowing what their temperature is tells us how often to communicate with them, right? No? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there other ways to do it? Have you ever heard of other ways besides hot, warm, cold?
ABC.
ABC. Okay. Can we agree that ABC probably means the same thing? It's just somebody else saying it another way? What other ways are there?
30, 60, 90.
30, 60, 90? Okay. They're going to buy or sell a home in the next 30 days, the next 60 days, or 90 plus. It means the same thing. Can we agree? Right? We're just trying to figure out what their temperature is. This is crucial, by the way, in this, number 3. If we know their temperature, we know when to do this. Okay? So is there any so what I want you to understand is if you have a lead follow-up system, you probably have something like this. If you don't have a lead follow-up system in place today, then when you put one in, it needs to have this component. Here's what I tell people. I tell people that, look, if they're a C, or if they're cold, they're 90 plus, however you want to say it, they do not get any of my personal time. I don't say that to be mean or conceited or whatever that looks like. They just don't, if they're 90 days or beyond, I'm not spending time with them. I'm not going to show them houses. I'm not going to go view their home that's for sale. I mean, I might be on a phone call with them, but it would be very selective when it 100% fits in my schedule and I have zero else to do. I might get on a phone call with them, but it's probably more about some type of digital communication. It's a text, it's an email, it's some kind of automated system that is following up with them on a regular basis. If they're a B, or if they're getting warm, they're going to be the next 60 days, do they get any of my time?
Yes.
They do. They do? I'm asking. It's okay. Everybody, look.
I would say yes, definitely not like an A, but probably some touch somewhere along the line that's more personal to actually.
Okay, how often? So you're probably, let me be clear about one other thing. Your follow-up system and your follow-up system and their follow-up system and mine are all different. They all mean different things. We all have different things that happen in our lives, right? Like if my wife had a follow-up system, she could not communicate with B's or C's because she has other things that she does. If you're a full-time hardcore real estate agent and you go 9, 10, 12 hours a day, 60 hours a week, then you probably have more time for these people than the person who's not. Does that make sense? There's no right or wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a part-time agent that works 12 hours a week. There's nothing wrong with the guy that works 60 hours a week either, or the girl, right? Everyone's system is different based on their commitment, their time frames, and the things that they have. So you're going to create this. Every one of your follow-up systems are going to be different for every one of these lead types. You're going to do something different for your cold calls than you're going to do for your sphere of influence, right? You're going to do something different for your sphere than you're going to do for sell by owners. But you have to develop that. You got to figure out what that is. You got to put that on a piece of paper. You got to write that down. For sell by owner follow-up system, step number 1, day number 1, this is what we do. Day number 3, day number 7, day number whatever, right? It's a follow-up system specific to for sell by owners. Same thing with your social media people. It's different. Like, I'm not going to be calling my social media people. Are you going to call your social media people? You might as well try to sell them a car warranty. It's the same thing. They're not going to answer their phone. They're social media people, right? They thrive on social media. They don't thrive on the telephone. Well, I like the telephone. Too bad. Get over it. They like social media, okay? So how you follow up with them is going to be different than how you do your sphere, people that came into your open house. Okay, so warm people, Lizette, as you pointed out, probably get a little bit of my time. Now, I have to decide what that time looks like, right? Is it personal time face-to-face? Is it a phone call? Is it a mailing that I send out? What is it? Okay, and then how about my A's? Do they get my personal time?
Absolutely.
How much of my personal time?
More than B and C.
Probably the majority of it. Like, if you're going to buy or sell in the next 30 days, I'm going to be a virus on your backpack, and I'm going to be with you 24/7. You're not going to know that I'm around, because that's how I make my money. And when the iron's hot, I get to strike, right? So I'm going to be there. I'm going to be available. You're going to hear from me. I'm going to spend time with you face to face. I'm going to show houses. We're going to preview houses in your neighborhood if you're going to sell a house, right? They're going to be there. So having this system isn't about your leads. The system is about you. It's about how you spend time in your business. So it becomes crucial that you're continually updating every lead in your system every single time you talk to them or communicate with them on when you're going to follow up the next time. So they could change from a cold to a warm, right? They could change from a warm to a hot. Could they change from a hot to a cold?
Yes.
Yeah. And guess what we find ourselves doing? We treat them like they're hot, but really now they're cold because of some, family emergency, some change in their life, a death in the family. Maybe they had a work situation change. I don't know, but they've gone from being hot to cold. But we still treat them as hot. But we don't have time to treat them as hots, because we need to treat our hots as hots. Because why do we do this, by the way? Why do we? Income, period, end of conversation, right? You guys, if you've heard me talk enough, my philosophy is that you can love houses, you can love showing houses, you can love people, you can love all that stuff, and it's great and wonderful, but by the way, you're not going to do it for free. If you never got paid for doing it for the next 12 months, would you still do it? That's always the question you have. And no, I'm not going to do it. I'm doing it for the potential of making money. It's cool that I enjoy doing it, but it's because I'm going to make money. Okay, does this make sense to you though? Hot, warms, colds. So we use a system on our team where we have, no more.
You can erase it, I think.
I got to just go down here. It's so far down, like it's for the short. All right, so on my team, here's how we do it. We have what's called statuses. Every person in our database has a status. So they're either new, or they're qualify, or they're active, they're prime, they're watch, or they're closed. Those are our statuses. And I'll tell you about each one of them. What do you think new means?
Just never.
New means they're new. I've never spoken to them. Okay? So your open house lead. No, your door knocking lead, sorry. Are they ever new when they go into your system?
No.
You've already spoken to them, so they're not new. So when my people come in every day, my people, my friends, my teammates, my whatever you want to call them, When they come to work every day, they get into their CRM, and anything that's yellow, that's new, they got to do something. They got to talk to those people. They got to start this lead follow-up system that we have in place for new leads. Do we know any of these things about them yet? Are they hot, warm, or cold? Don't have a clue. All we know is there's a name and a phone number, and we got to call, text, and email those people, right? All right, qualify. Qualify is green. Let me be clear. This does not mean they're qualified to buy or sell a house. This means that it's my job to qualify that lead to see if they get to work with me or not. Not to see if I want to work with them, but they get to work with me. So there's things they need to do in order to be considered qualified. Have I ever spoken to a qualified before? No, I've never spoken to a qualified. By the way, no news are left in your system at the end of the day. Every day you clear out all your news and they go into qualify, and it's the same scenario. We may have never talked to them, had any communication from them. We just know that they need to be spoken to. Okay? Now, I want you to understand that the new qualify section in our CRM is equivalent to what? Car warranties. I don't know if they're ever going to call me back. I don't know if they're ever going to text me back. I don't know if they're ever going to email me back.
So how do leads get in your system? Is that you buy leads or?
Some of them internet leads that we buy, some are door knocking leads, some are open house leads that we manually put into the system. Yeah, so they get put in various different ways. Some of them, most of the ones that come in that are new or qualifies are ones that we've bought. Yes, so that's a good question. Like an open house lead doesn't go in as a new or a qualify. A door knock, any of these other sphere of influences, door knocking, these could go in as a new, but we'd never put them in unless we talk to them. Like we're not just going to randomly put 1,000 phone numbers in our system and hope somebody calls them one day. So we don't even put those in. Sphere. Farming is another one. We do pick farms. We get all the information from the title companies. We put them into our system. We tag them, whatever the name of the farm is. They go into that agent's CRM, and then they do go in as new, because then they start working through those news, move them to qualifies, and then move them through the rest of the statuses. One of them that you don't see that we don't have as a status is deleted, because they're deleted. I don't know they're there anymore, right? So they're gone. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so these people, I don't know if they're ever going to call me, text me, or email me. I just don't know. So they fall into the car warranty scenario. And by the way, number 3 is super important for these people. Because remember my buddy who kept calling, texting, emailing, and guess what he had to go do? Find another job, right? Like I got to know when to stop trying to get a hold of people who don't want to talk to me. Do any of you want to do business with someone that doesn't want to talk to you?
No.
Right? I mean, why not just beat our head against the wall for 2 hours? It would be a lot funner,
Right.
right? So what about active? What's active, do you think?
They're qualified and they're looking?
We've actively talked to them. So from these 2, which we've never spoken to, we've never had a communication. And let me be clear, that doesn't mean we haven't talked to them on the phone. I'm talking about any kind of communication. Because our system, we phone call, we text, and we email through our system, okay? So they move into the active when they've made 2-way communication with us through some form, text, email, or phone calls. And then what active means is we are actively trying to get them pre-qualified, or we have actively gotten a listing appointment set up. So on the buy side, it's actively trying to get them pre-qualified with a lender before we start showing houses. And on the listing side, it's we actively have a listing appointment set up. Okay? So we've spoken to these people, right? That's different than these 2. How about prime?
You actually know whether they're buying or they're.
So prime
What they're planning.
prime buyers are pre-qualified and they're looking at houses. We're physically out looking at houses. And then prime sellers is we have a listing appointment, and or they've signed listing documentation and we're just waiting for it to go live on MLS. How about watch?
There's people who are thinking about buying or selling.
Yeah, I'm going to buy a house, but not till December. right? It's these people. Those are our watches. It's the 90-plussers. Oh, I'm absolutely going to do something next year. I retire in 2022, right? Those are the watches, okay? And then our closed are obviously people that they're our past clients, people we've closed a transaction with. Not that we've closed out wanting to talk to them, we've closed a transaction. So they're a past client. And we communicate, we do lead follow-up with our past clients. That might be a foreign concept. We do lead follow-up with our past clients differently. Yeah, that's kind of weird to say, right? They are still a lead,
Right.
because if they've bought, they're going to sell. If they've sold, they might need to buy. And the other thing that I love about those people is they have 10 friends that they really want to introduce me to. I just have to help them realize that. So there is lead follow-up with your past clients as well. All right, so this is our system that's just like this system. Okay, so the A's, this looks like that thing you see on TikTok, right? Those are our primes, right? Next 30 days, they're going to do something. So every follow-up lead system you have has to have this scenario in it. Now let me go one step further with ours. Knowing when to stop with our news and our qualifies. Here's our system. This isn't yours, doesn't have to be yours. This is our system. You call them 7 times. Means you physically dial their phone number 7 times. You let it ring. If it goes to voicemail, you put in the system, went to voicemail. You text them 7 times. Physically send them a text 7 times. You,
After 7 calls.
no, simultaneously. This is all going on at the same time. And you email them how many times? 7 times. Does anybody get the reference there? 777.
Within what time period?
What if you hit 777 in Vegas? You win money. It's a jackpot. You get it? All right, so if after 21 attempts from us to communicate with them, if they don't have some type of return communication with us, we're done. We now know when to stop. We're not going past 21. Make sense?
But now, are you sending them texts, emails, and calls? How do you spread that out?
However you want. So on our system is the first day we call, an hour later we send a text, and an hour later we send an email. The second day we just send a text. The third day we call again and we send an email. The fourth day we just send an email. We skip the 5th day. The 6th day we do all 3 again. Okay, so the 777 for us theoretically should happen within the first 10 days of them being in our system. And in our system, you only get exclusivity to that lead for 10 days. After 10 days, I'm taking that lead away and I'm going to go do something different with it.
What would you think of calling, texting, emailing for 7 days? Doing call, text, email, 7 days.
If you can do that, you have a challenge that you don't even know about. And that is that you don't have enough leads and you don't have enough business. Because the reason I said theoretically you should be able to do that in 10 days is because business happens. I'm calling, texting, emailing people and I'm getting responses back and they want to see this house, and they want a listing appointment, and you almost can't do it in 7 days unless it's completely automated. So let me tell you about completely automated. It works to a point, but there is a level of personal touch in this business that you need to put in, and you need to be physically making those phone calls. Our system does voice drop. Everybody knows what voice drop is, right? We talked about that. That's what car warranty companies do. Just shows up in your voicemail. Our system does voice drops as well. So in addition to the 777 that each agent's doing with the people that come in, I'm on the back end with an automated system that does a voice drop 4 or 5 times over a 15-day period or whatever. I don't remember exactly what those numbers are, but it's my voice recording saying, hey, you were on our website, blah, 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 blah. Give us a call if we need help, right? So we're doing more than just this. But if you can implement something that tells you exactly how many times you should be communicating with somebody through different forms of communication, you'll be more successful because you'll know when to stop. I know that sounds weird. Now let me be also clear about one thing. When I say you'll know when to stop, You'll know when to stop calling, texting, and emailing. We never stop sending them properties. Never. Even if someone calls and says they've passed, sorry to hear that. Let me see what I can do about that. I'm not taking it off. Because guess what? The person who called, I got their attention. Right? They called me because they got the email. And they were just being nice to let me know. But the bottom line is they got to sell that house at some point. I got to keep going. So even when people say, well, when they die, you're going to take them out. No, I'm actually not. If they opt out of my system, great. They have that option. I have no problem, no heartburn over that. But we never stop sending them an automated email once every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, once a month. If they're a seller, it goes out once a month, the beginning of each month, and it's a market report. It goes out every single month. It's part of my system. If they're a buyer, then they just get properties that are for sale. I don't care what property they get. I send some people $1 million condos. I send some people single family residences. I send some people Lake Las Vegas. I send some people Summerlin. I don't know, because guess what? We've never talked to these people, so we just set up a search just based on what our feelings are that day, and if we need to adjust it later, we will. But what we don't want to do is forget to set up that e-alert.
So just to clarify, so your new and qualified that you haven't spoken to, you automatically put them on some type of a
We call it an e-alert.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called an e-alert in our system. It's no different than setting up a property search in MLS.
Okay.
The challenge with doing it in MLS is how long does that last? 6 months, and then you have to refresh it. Well, we have 18,000 people in our database. I'm not refreshing a property search every 6 months for 18,000 people. I'd have to hire 3 people full-time just to do that. So our system, you set it up one time and it's done. Now they'll call you and go, hey, you're sending me $1 million high rises and I want a condo in Summerlin for $250. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. By the way, thanks for calling me. Right? What am I trying to get them to do? Communicate with me. So I have this theory about bad information. I know some of you may have heard that. It's still really mind-boggling for people, but I love sending people false or fake information. Not false or fake, but the wrong.
Right.
I don't know what they want. I think it's great if you don't know what they want. Now I get to use my imagination to send them whatever I want. And then they'll call me back and go, hey, you're sending me the wrong stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. How foolish of me. Must have made a mistake. By the way, when are you thinking about moving? Are you selling soon? Who do you know that needs to buy or sell? Now I'm on the phone and now I can have that conversation. While I'm on my keyboard, can you pound on your keyboard for a minute? I ain't doing anything on it, I'm just pounding on it so they can hear it. Yeah, let me make that adjustment. Hold on just a second, hold on. Oh yeah, here you are in the system. Oh man, what did you want that to be, but right? I'm having a conversation with them while I'm looking them up in the system. I know that sounds kind of wonky, but that's what you wanted them to do, was call you. You don't want them to feel like you're attacking them when they call. You want them to feel like you're helping them. Okay, all right, so questions. So you get the new and the qual. So anybody gets put into our system day one, before we make a phone call, before we send a text, and before we send an email. The very first thing everybody does is set up an e-alert. It's the only thing that goes long term. We never stop sending e-alerts.
I was door knocking recently during the real estate academy, and I met a young lady. She's living in her mother's house. She's been paying the rent. I was just curious how you would follow up with her. I mean, I know I need to go back and talk to her, do something, but she wants to actually buy the house from her mother.
Okay.
So,
Has she talked to a lender?
no, she hasn't.
She's in the active category right now. She doesn't fit on any of these yet because we have to figure out what her goals are. Can she buy that? I mean, look, on my way here today, I'm going down the freeway as fast as, you guys know I drive a fairly good sized truck, right? Like I get going 90 miles an hour in my truck, it's going somewhere, right? No one's stopping it. And this guy in this 4-door Maserati goes by me going like I was like, I gotta have one of these days. Like I gotta get one of those things. I also know how much they cost and I wanna buy one, but I'm probably never gonna buy one, right? I understand she wants to buy her mom's house, but can she? Like, so you have to go visit with her. How you knocked on the door, you probably gotta go back and, unless she gave you information phone number, email, or text that you could communicate with her, then your only option, because you didn't get her information, is to go back and knock on the door. And that's okay. That's just your lead follow-up for that specific person. It's fine. So, where was I going? Okay, class is over. I can't remember anymore. Thank you. No, just kidding. All right, so here's what I want you to know about each one of these and each one of these. I don't care which of these systems you use, right? Here's what you got to know. What is my follow-up for my A's, my HOTs? How often? How do I do it? When do I do it? How do I do it for my B's? How do I do it for these 90 pluses or for the primes or for the watches or whatever that looks like, right? So here, I'm going to tell you about our system. You can equate that back to these because they all do match. I promise you it's the same thing. They're just called different things by different people. News and qualifies. They hit our system. Remember, they're people we've never spoken to. We don't know who they are. They registered on our site. They came in from some other lead source. They came in from some referral company that we signed up with. We don't know where they came from. Here's what happens. The very first thing that happens is what? E-alert. First thing, set up an e-alert. I don't care what e-alert you set up. Whatever your flavor of the day is, let's do it. Put it in there. Then I do what? Call, text, email. The call is, hey, it's Todd at Signature Real Estate Group. You were on our site, findinglasvegashomelistings.com, assuming that's where they came from, and I can tell. And I'm calling to see if you found the perfect home or are you still looking? Call me back. Okay? The text is an hour later, I called you because you were on our website, findinglasvegashomelistings.com, and I'm trying to find out if you found the perfect home or are you still looking? What does the email say?
Same thing.
I call.
Exactly the same thing. I just called and text you, and I'm trying to find out if you found the perfect home or are you still looking? Why is that? Why do I send the same message 3 times?
Because
Yeah, it's marketing. That's marketing 101, right? Build a brand, build a consistent theme, right? So, okay. So those are what we're going to do with these people. What do I do with my actives? Who are my actives, by the way?
Spoken to them.
Okay, so they're one of these 3 now. Agreed?
Yeah.
What do I do with them? They're already on an e-alert. I've already spoken to them. Now what am I doing?
Depends on where they are.
Okay, depends on where they are.
We're asking questions so you can narrow down more.
So when do I ask them questions?
when you talk to them.
When do I talk to them?
Before you put them on the active list.
I've already talked to them when I put them on the active list, but when do I talk to them again?
When they tell you, when they say,
They're going to call me?
well, you've already talked to them, right?
Right.
So when you have that conversation with them, you're gonna find out when's a good time to follow up.
Okay, great. And so how do I know when to follow up?
You gotta ask questions.
No, okay. Yes, but you're not wrong, but you're not right. Right? When do I follow? What's crucial about the people that are inactive?
Maybe depends on their time frame for moving.
It has this much to do with them. Has nothing to do with them. Guys, this is all about me. All this whole system is about me and how I conduct my business and what I do to make things happen. What's crucial about these actives?
You're gonna get them pre-qualified or tell
That's my goal. Yep.
You're gonna decide on your schedule when it is that you're gonna call them.
Okay. And how will I know when to call them?
whether they said they were looking right away, whether they said they were looking in 60 days, whether they said they're looking in.
Great. So 60 days has gone by. How am I going to know to call them?
Because you're
It's
gonna
gonna
have
be
it.
in your CRM.
Oh, it's going to be, I'm going to set up a to-do in my system. Do you remember these 2 people? What do we do with them first thing? E-alert. First thing, e-alert, right? Look, guys, calls, texting, and emailing, second nature. Everybody knows to do that. There's no aha about that. You guys are like, yeah, no kidding. We know to do that. We came to a class to learn something different, right? What you didn't know is they need to be on an e-alert somehow, somewhere for the rest of their life. And you got to figure that out because your system probably doesn't do it right now. But someday, when you've closed enough deals, you're going to get into a system that does that for you, okay? What about what's crucial? What's the number one thing I have to do when I move somebody from these 2 into active? The number one most critical thing.
You have
I don't care about that.
You need to set up
Right.
I'm sorry. I care about that at a high level, but that's not the first thing I do.
You're gonna set up a specific time to call.
I'm going to set a to-do in my system that's going to tell me when to call them. Because you know what? Y'all are smart. Y'all are just super smart people, let me be clear. But you can't remember. I promise. Somebody says, I'm going to think about buying or selling in 45 days, 9.9% of the time, 9.9 out of 10 times, you're not going to call them back. That's called not doing lead follow-up. That's called wasting your lead generation time. You need a to-do somewhere in your Google Calendar, in your Outlook calendar, a sticky note, a shoebox that's got little 3x5 cards that are in date order. Call Billy back on this day. I don't care how you do it, but you have to have a to-do. You have to have a reminder set somewhere to call them back. Very first thing that's the most crucial for my actives. By the way, they become my actives when we put them into one of these categories, right? So anytime we can determine which one of these they are, they need a to-do, they need a follow-up. We need to know when to follow them up next time. Make sense? Okay, how about my primes? What's the one most important thing? Remember, my primes are people I'm showing houses to. I have listing appointments set for. Like, what's the most important thing I do for them? What's my best lead follow-up for these people? Where are they up here?
They're A,
Okay, they're A's. And so what am I doing with them?
face to face.
Whatever they want, right? Every single day, you go look at your A's. Every single day, we go through our primes in our system and ask ourselves one question. What can I do for this person today? That simple. And the answer sometimes is nothing. I talked to them at 9 o'clock last night on the phone when I mistakenly picked up my phone too late. I don't need to do anything for them today. It might be something as simple as I haven't talked to them in a couple days. Let me shoot them a quick text. Hey, how's it going? Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday so we can see houses, and it's Wednesday, right? And you know you're not going to have anything to do with them, but every single day we look to see what can I do for this person today. If it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's a simple text, oh my God, I've got to go on a listing appointment tomorrow. What am I going to do for this person? I'm going to pull comps. I'm going to do a listing consultation package. I'm going to get all the paperwork. Like, I've got things to do for this person, okay? Okay, what am I doing for my watches? Remember, that's these
Tag them in your CRM
as.
at 90 plus.
Yeah, so they're in mine, they're a watch. They're tagged as a watch. It's red. No, it's not red. It's like a bluish color. What do I do with them though?
So is
Set
it,
them, just leave them sitting there.
Ignore them?
No, you have a to-do in your CRM.
Oh, I have a to-do. So anybody that's in your cold C's, your 90 pluses, your watches, whatever you want to call it, there is a to-do set up for them. Every single one of them. Make sense? Okay, what do I do with my closed?
Well, that's after follow-up, so,
Oh, it's called after follow-up. I didn't know that. Okay? After lead follow-up. What do I do with them?
well, you're still gonna do it set up in your to-dos, in your CRM, but, one of the things that I've done with them is set up like, okay, a couple days from, them getting their keys or, closing, and then a week later checking on them, and then, so it's like 2 days, a week, and then it spreads out to like a month,
Oh, so you do have a system.
just for that part.
Great, let's just finish it for everybody else. Right? I mean, that's what we're trying to get to here, right? It's exactly that. We need to care as much about our follow-up people as our after follow-up people. Okay? So yeah, it's a to-do. By the way, in mine, it's 1 week after closing, it's a phone call. It comes up in our system and says, today, Wally Hawkins, you're going to call Joe Smith and tell him happy 1 week anniversary. Guess what? We don't talk to them though. We just do a voice drop.
Not the same.
Huh? Well, I get credit for voice drops. Like if they missed my call, that's on them. It's not the same. I don't love people like you do. Let me be really clear. Like I have found systems that work for Todd. And a voice drop is awesome for me because I don't have to have a 35-minute conversation. And don't get me wrong. I mean, not that I don't want to do that or I do want to do that. I just shouldn't have to make that decision. This is a work thing, and I'm just going to leave a voice drop. Hey, it's Todd. Super excited you've been in your house for a week. Hope everything's well. Call me if you need something. It goes to their voicemail. They get it at their convenience. Guess what?
They're excited that you remembered that.
Sometimes they call me back. Yeah, I got a problem. My house burned down. Oh, that's a problem. Let's get you a new one. Right, whatever that is. And sometimes they don't call, but I always get the credit for leaving the call. So 1 week after closing, 1 month after closing, 6 months after, or 3 months after closing, 6 months, 1 year, and then every year after that. That's our basic lead follow-up for our closed clients. Now we're doing a client appreciation party on August 1st. We're renting out a movie theater. We're inviting everybody that we've done a real estate transaction with from August 1st of 2020 through August 1st of this year to come. So we're going to get to see people, and they call it hugging babies and kissing babies and hugging whatever, right? We're going to get to physically touch people, say hi, be in front of them, and that's a lead follow-up, an after lead follow-up. Sorry, I got to learn that term. It's an official real estate term now. That's our follow-up for our closed. But here's the deal. Here's what I hope you're getting is there's a system for every one of them, and they're all different depending on who they are and what they want. And who am I willing to spend time with and not spend time with? On our news and qualifies, our system, because they only get them for 10 days, they probably have about 40 to 45 people that are in that category. People they've never spoken to that signed up on our website or came in from a referral company or something. Look, they don't hand dial 45 people every day, right? It's a dialer. They go select all the qualifies. They go select, add to call list, call. They got their headphones on. They sit there for 30 minutes. It dials 45 numbers. They mark each one after each dial what happened, and they move on to their next thing. They're not spending all day trying to call 45 people. And then they're mass texting. Okay, it's Wednesday. Our Wednesday text is this one. Great, mass text, 45 people. Click, boom, done. 2 minutes, right? Same with emails. It's our Wednesday email. We have 7 emails set up, 7 text templates set up. They all it goes out to all of them once. Guess what happens every time they do that? One person communicates back. That's cool. That's a good number. 1 out of 45 is not a bad number, right? That's a little over 10%. No, 20%.
You follow up with investors.
0, unless I have an investment property. And it's an email. I don't call them. It's an email with the property. Here's the scenario. Are you interested? Had one yesterday. We have an investor who's a finance investor. He doesn't want to buy property. He just wants to provide the financing. It's kind of a hard money lender kind of thing. And we sent him a text that said, $250,000 deal. They're going to put $20,000 down, and they need a 5-year term. Are you interested? Yes. Great. Done. Like, I'm not going to get on the phone and call that guy. He knows his terms. I know my terms.
I have a client that's bought 3 investment properties.
So he's a past client
Yeah.
also. Right? My lead follow-up him is a little bit different. Hey, I don't know if you know, but you bought that first property a year ago today. Congratulations. It's literally that simple. So there is time to spend with them, yes. But so many times we get phone calls from, I'm an investor. Oh, great. How many properties do you own? Well, I don't own any. All right, maybe you're a speculator in my mind. You're not really an investor. But I got $1 million. Okay, good. Mom gave you some money. I hear you. All right. You'd like to buy some property. Cool. What's your business plan? I don't know. You're the realtor. You tell me. Okay, that's not an investor. That's a speculator, right? That's somebody we get to teach how to do the business. And then you get investors that know what it's called a buy box. This is their buy box, right? Anything built after 2010, minimum 3 bedroom, minimum 2 bath, minimum 2 car garage, no pool, no HOA, or HOA's under $100. That's my buy box. You find one of those, I'll buy it. It's an email. Here's the property. We can close in 10 days, 20 days. Send me your current proof of funds. We'll write an offer. So those are investors. Then they're speculators. And you handle them all differently. Absolutely. Speculators are typically sit in our watch category. And when we find something, we mark them. We tag them as a speculator. And I'm not being mean with that. That just tells us that they've never done a deal before. And so the work involved in getting them to buy a property is more than an investor who has a buy box, who doesn't have to ask 37,000 questions and they don't need their hand held. That's the only difference for us. Doesn't need hand holding was a tag that was too long, so I just used speculator. Okay, so does this make sense? This is a lead. So here's your challenge. You've got to create this for all of these different types of people. Are you working with all of these types of people today? So the good news is you don't have to do all of them, but you've got to do them as you start using them. I never had an internet lead follow-up system until when? I started buying internet leads. I didn't need it before then. What's the one on here that's probably the most important? Like this should be a foolproof, 100% the best lead follow-up system that you have. Your Sphere. Yeah, your Sphere. Like if you don't have a specific lead follow-up system for your Sphere that's written down, that's in your calendar, that has to-do set up, then you have a challenge. You need to get that done right away. Now, if you have people in your Sphere that you say, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to send them anything. They're my friend, they're my family, but I don't want to bother them. Are they really your friend or family? I mean, really? Are they really going to think you're bothering them if you call and say, hey? Do you always have to hit them over the head with a real estate stick? You can just call and say, hi. What's up? When are you coming to Vegas?
You can send them a note.
Haven't seen you in 2 years. We got to get together. I don't know what that looks like, right? Like that. I'm not good at that. I'm not good at that. I don't love people like a lot of people love people. I'll call them because it's my job. I got to make money because I do this to get paid. But it's not my favorite thing to do. But I do have a system and I do follow it. I do this part pretty well, right? I do it consistently, over and over and over. You guys, if you've been to any of my classes, you probably heard my story about Joe, my cousin. We call him Uncle Joe. Has anybody ever heard that story? So when I very first got into business, everyone said, you got to go talk to your Sphere. You got to get out there and talk to your Sphere. And I'm not the call you up on the phone and have a conversation person. I'm just not that guy. I'm not going to do it. I don't like it. It caused frustration for me. It was hard. I wasn't going to do it. I just wasn't going to do it. So I started to do what we call pop buys. I have this brother-in-law. I've now known him for 27 years. Remember that number, 27 years I've known the guy, okay? And he owned a company in town with about 400 employees. So once a week, strategically, every single week, remember, number 2, super consistent, every week, I'd stop by Uncle Joe's office, take him a coffee. Just walk in, what's up, Uncle Joe? Brought you your coffee today. Hope everything's going well. How's it going? Sit down, have a 2 or 3 minute conversation, and head out the door. Every time I went, he would say, what are you doing here again? Dude, I was just down the street showing a house. Never showed a house anywhere near his office. But I was just down the house, looking at a house, showing a house, I don't know, whatever I could think of, right? I just needed an excuse to go pop by and see him. And when I would leave, guess what would happen?
Give you a referral.
Now, like 4 people would go, hey, Joe, who's that guy? Who is that guy? That's my brother-in-law. Finally, I got to talk to Joe one day and I said, Joe, quit telling people I'm your brother-in-law. Tell them I'm your realtor. I don't bring you coffee every week just because I'm your brother-in-law. I don't like you that much. I bring you coffee every week so someone around here will buy a house from me. Tell them I'm a realtor. And he's laughing. We have that relationship. It's all good. And he says, okay, good. Well, how long have I known Joe?
27.
27 years. I'm going to spend the weekend with him this weekend. Guy's never bought a house from me. He's never sold a house with me. He's never bought a house with me. He's lived in the same damn house for 27 years. I'm like, you're the worst client on the planet Earth. Just bottom line. That's all. He's been trying to buy a house for 2 years now, but he just can't find the one that's perfect. But I've probably done 40 or 50 deals from that 400 people that are in his office that as I pop by, they would say, who's that guy? And he would say, that's my realtor. And then people would go, that's your brother-in-law. Yeah, but he sells houses. You should know that. And one time when I'd go in, he'd go, hey, come on. And he'd come walking out of his office downstairs, out in the shop, walk past 30 people. Hey, how are you guys? Nice to see you. You know, people that I'd done deals with. Nice to see you guys. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's your house? How's the baby? Good. Hey, we just hired this guy. Todd, this is so-and-so. You need to find him a house. We like him. He's going to be working here a while. Joe had an opportunity to say that in front of his employee, and then I got to go buy him a house, right? So it was my sphere of influence, it was my lead follow-up system, and it was only for Joe to Jesus. That was it. I didn't do that with anybody else because nobody else in my world had 400 people around him on a day-to-day basis. And it worked pretty well. So just know that your system can be custom to different people. Anybody in here practice scripts? Am I out of time yet? Oh, it's 12. It didn't shut off automatically? Oh, good, good. All right, anybody in here practice scripts?
Yes,
Who's your partner?
Tyson,
Okay, who else is your partner?
my boyfriend, my dog, my mom.
So depressing. Guess who my partner was? My mom. Every day. I'd dial up my mom's number, she'd answer. She knew what was up. Finally, she'd start joking around. She'd say, I know nobody that wants to buy or sell a house. Okay, all right, I hear you. But let me just, I want you to know that one of three things is going to happen today, Mom. One is you're going to like me and you're going to like my team. You're going to like the value that we provide and you're going to want to do it. Like I would practice scripts on her. And the best part about it being my mom was she was brutally honest. Like there were times when she said, dude, that sucked. I'm sorry, but that was horrible. Yeah, I know, but I had to try it at least one time, right? So you have, by the way, by doing that with her, how many deals has she sent me? It's constantly on her mind. Besides the fact that I'm her kid, and I'm her favorite kid out of 4, by the way. But of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?
We all say that.
Yes, exactly. And you should all say that. But I was always on her mind. Like she'd have people in the car with her. She's an interior designer by trade, so she'd have clients and right. So who was that? Oh, that was my son. He's an idiot. He calls me every day. Practices these real estate scripts. Oh, he sells real estate. Yeah, so lots of transactions, right? So lead follow-up systems are different for different people, mostly in your sphere, but all of these other ones are pretty basic. They're pretty much the same. What's a lead follow-up for sell by owner? What's our goal with the for sale by owner, by the way?
Like it's listed. The goal is to,
Take the listing. Okay. So in order to take the listing, what do we have to do?
we have to convince them that,
Convince? We're not in the convincing business.
Get an appointment.
Okay, yeah, we got to get an appointment. Nothing happens without an appointment. How are we going to get that appointment?
Well, we ought to have contact with them, right?
Hey, Mr. Smith, you live at 123 Sproul Street. Great. Hey, I'm a real estate agent. I'm going to come by today and list your home. What's he going to say?
the hell you know.
Right? Probably going to hang up. He ain't going to say anything. He's going to hang the phone up, right? What do we need to do with for sale by owners? Why are they for sale by owners?
They're looking for buyers. I have buyers.
Okay, maybe they're looking for buyers.
Create a relationship.
We got to create a relationship. They're for sale by owners because they had a bad experience with a real estate agent, or they don't know a real estate agent. They don't trust real estate agents. Why? You guys don't. Do you know that we're like the slot just below used car salesmen, attorneys, used car salesmen, real estate agents? Right? There's not a lot of trust out there in the community for us. You got to get them to trust you. So my lead follow-up system is built around building trust, them trusting me. How do I build trust with a for sale owner, or anybody for that matter?
Relationship.
Say it again.
Establish a relationship.
How do I do that? What's the easiest way for me to establish a relationship with anybody?
Communication.
Okay,
You can go see his house.
okay. So communication, go see the house. Why do I want to see the house?
Because you have a buyer.
Nope. That's the script I use, but that's not the truth.
Because you want to list it, so you want
Because you want to help
to know
them.
what it's worth and
You want to help him. You want him to know you're interested in him or her, right? Every real estate agent is going to call and go, hey, Tom Ferry told me to call today, and it's part of my business plan, and I'm calling to find out when you're going to hire the right person for the job of selling your home. That's the script, guys. That's what they use. What's he going to say? Oh, you're just,
Thank you.
Just another one.
hey, thanks for calling. You're the 37th one in the last 2 hours. I appreciate you calling, but no thank you. Like, we got to get past that. We got to get to the point where we're showing them that we care about them, their needs, their wants. What about them, right? I would never just go to the house, right? For me, I get on the phone and build a relationship through asking questions, right? I want people to know I care about them because I'm asking about them. I'm not telling them about me. I'm asking about them. Hey, tell me about your house. Like, I don't have a buyer. I know you've had 47 agents call you today and tell you they have a buyer in the neighborhood and they want to come by and preview your home. Look, I don't have a buyer currently, but I am a student of the business, and I'd like to know if you could tell me about your house. By the way, I know it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage. I know what street it's on. I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. What I'm curious about are what are the things you've changed on the home since you've lived there? What are your upgrades? Tell me the things I can't see on public record like all these other agents. Hey, Tom, thanks for coming to work, buddy. 12:05, right on time. So my lead follow-up system for my for sale by owner is substantially different than it is for expireds. But you got to have it. You got to know what it is. You got to put it into place, and you got to do it consistently. How many times do you have to call a for sale by owner before they start trusting you? Statistically,
Well, like 7 or 8.
7 to 9. 7 to 9 conversations. So how often do I call them back? I don't know. I'm probably calling the first day, the 4th day, the 6th day, and then every day on a certain day of the week for another 10 times, right? Until what? They invite me over,
Or they tell you,
or they told you they already sold it. One of the two. That's it. Now, if someone tells me they've already sold it, what do I do?
Where are you going?
I keep calling. Why do I keep calling? Because deals fall out. And once they've gone through a deal that falls out, you think the frustration level is high for you as an agent? For a seller, it's ballistic. They do not want to do that again. They don't know what they did wrong. They don't know what happened. All they know is they had their house off the market. They had their hopes up. They were starting to pack boxes, and it didn't close, right? I'm going to keep calling until it closes. And yes, of course, where are you moving to? You need some help with that. Do you need to know, can I find you a great agent in Ohio? By the way, I love Ohio. It's where I bought my first dog. I flew to Ohio and bought my dog. His name was Diesel. Great dog. I love. The only thing I know about Ohio is that there's Mastiffs there, and I bought one, and it was awesome. But hey, can I find you a great agent? I know lots of agents throughout the country. So yeah, I'm calling to see if I can get them a referral as well. But my lead follow-up system for my for sale by owners is way different than my expireds, my internet leads, my referrals, my social media people. How often should you be on social media?
me? Never.
Okay, no, it's good. You can absolutely,
I'm not as social.
you can 100% eliminate that from your business. It's totally fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. Everybody's like, oh, I got to get on social media.
Thank you for saying
No, hell no, you don't have to.
I don't like social media.
You don't have. I don't do it. I don't do it. Guess what else I don't do? I don't work on the weekends. First time when I went to class, by the way, when I got my license, you had to physically go to class every day. There was just not this online thing. Went to class, the very guy stands up and says, if you don't want to work on the weekends, you should leave now. Can you explain that? What do you mean by that? Well, this job, real estate agent, requires you to work on the weekends. Like, what do you mean? I thought we were independent contractors. Well, but you can't be successful if you don't work on the weekends. Well, I kind of took that as a challenge. I'm like, okay, I got 3 kids, a wife, 2 dogs. I ain't working on the weekends. I'm a party on the weekends. I'm gonna hang out with my family. That's how I was raised. I'm old. I go to work during the week, hang out on the weekends, right? That's how it works. So I don't work on the weekends either. I don't do social media. You don't have to do social media. Just be good at something else. It's okay. Look, I'm really good at this. My entire business was built on this. Not this, not this, not this, not this. Have I done all these? Yeah, of course. But this is where my success came from. Pop by in Joe's office, calling my mother, staying in touch with people that I know. I'm born and raised here, so I know a lot of people, right? So you don't have to do any of these, but be good at the ones that you do and have a system in place that you follow consistently and know when to stop doing it.
Roy, I know they were practicing scripts here at the office a while back. Are they still doing that?
So I used to do that when I was in this office before I went to Green Valley. And then I think Tyson was going to do it again. Are you guys doing it?
Yeah, so I'm here typically, well, this week I started being here at 8:30 and we do 8:30 to 9, we do script practice and then we get on the phones. So we just do it for a small window of time, 8:30 to 9, and then we hop on the phone, and whether you're calling your sphere or cold calls or whatever.
Yeah, whatever your lead gen activity.
Every morning?
It's been every morning this week, and that's the plan. That is my set schedule. oh, look at, now I'm being held accountable, aren't I?
Yep.
Yes, I'm
Put it
doing
on
it.
monitor you too.
Dang, can you turn the camera on, please? This is, Shelley, no.
So yeah,
Yes.
it is something. So let me ask you this. Sometimes, so we're done with lead follow-up. Or any other questions? Anything online? Like the one person online couldn't come up with the one question. Terrible. All right. Any questions? Any, like, seriously, whatever you want to ask, I'm happy to talk about.
When you, do you mind sharing like what your SOI follow-up is, or is that you just kind of like did pop-bys and that was,
Every one of them have a to-do in my system.
okay?
Every